Alright, I almost feel like this should be the conclusion to all of my videos about the moon landing. I feel like my point is now just redundant, and I really don't have anything else to say. So I think I'm going to leave it, considering the last 2 radiation videos. Everything was spelled out clearly, through them, through me, through science, through history. Everything is laid out in order. You can see why it is from the 60s until now. The best we've achieved is 230 miles up. And radiation is the real and only problem why we don't exceed that. It's not money, we're not lazy, it's not a matter of technology, except for the shielding for keeping all of these heavy isotopes and the ionizing radiation off of us. Where they can talk, and they did in the other videos about how radiation on Earth is not a big deal, but in my other videos it all points out the linear order, the history of how it came to be, what radiation is, why the exposures that they talk about on Earth are nothing like the radiation exposures in space, and why there's various levels to space, why we can be in these lower levels but not the upper levels of the atmosphere, and we're not in the upper levels of the thermosphere, we've never been in the exosphere, no one is traveling into the plasmasphere and outside of the actual atmosphere of Earth into the magnetosphere, let alone leaving the Earth's magnetosphere. So, all of what I have to say is no longer science fiction. It's not my opinion. I am not some crazy zealot who just doesn't believe. It is now just a scientific fact. If you want to leave the Earth's magnetosphere, you have to take it with you. GSI, Princeton, Berkeley, UCLA, CERN, LIGO, every single place that I have used to show this fact before is now just going to be a common fact known by everyone, because here are the new videos. That propulsion device that we were going to say was going to send us with a nuclear isotope to Mars even faster, I was correct, and that's not what it's for. When they had that accident in Russia a few weeks back, and they had the meltdown, but it was still using a rocket that was a liquid-propelled rocket, so obviously it was just a basic normal system, but they were putting a nuclear isotope on it. No one knew why. It's very obvious now. I said videos ago that when that nuclear explosion happened, this is why they were doing it. It's the next step in space exploration. It is the only thing that we have left to do, and the only reason why we're not out there. So, as soon as we get it figured out, we're out there. And of course, the entire world, I talked about Japan and China and Russia and all of the Middle Eastern countries, everybody has signed a space treaty together, except for the US, which now officially, as of today, has signed the treaty to work with them on nuclear propulsion and isotope technologies that will create miniature thermonuclear reactors that will create enough energy. Of course, they're going to talk about it being laser weapons and stuff, but enough energy to create active shielding. At least enough to get us 1,000 miles, maybe even 3,000 miles up. But of course, that's not even into the exosphere, that's not even out of the atmosphere, but that's far greater than the low Earth orbit 230 miles that we've achieved and the 350 miles that the shuttle was able to achieve. So that's it. We have finally figured out how to make enough energy to create electromagnetic shield. So I'm going to leave you with my videos talking about, I told you this is exactly what they were working on, and my advice that you watch all the rest of my I Told You So radiation video, followed by Space Radiation 101, and then the volume 2, and then check out these new videos about how we are creating all these new isotope systems to create enough energy to shield us from radiation from space. So, here is where all of our money is going to be invested, where all the technology is going to be going, and it's not for warfare, it's not why our military needs the defense money, it's simply because it's the only way that we can save ourselves from a dying world. It's the only way we can understand how to be outside of our magnetosphere, is to make a small one and take it with us. So, told you so. Enjoy the articles. Alright, this is the video that I called it out in, so I'm not going to make you sit here and watch it again on this video, so you can go back and watch it. But 19 minutes and 26 seconds in, started from right there. I point at the television and I point out that this is not what you think, and I explain why that this is actually a the next step in figuring out electromagnetic shielding and how to create a little magnetosphere for the craft so we can get about 1,000 to 3,000 miles up.
Scientists have proven that the average human being gives 60% too much of a fuck about most daily activities.